Hello, and welcome to Happy Horror Time. My name's Tim Murdoch.
And my name's Matt Emmert. Happy November, Tim.
Happy November, Matt.
You know what November is famous for, Tim?
When the guys...
My birthday, damn it.
Yeah. That too. Happy birthday, Matt.
My birthday was, well, it was like a week ago.
November sexy.
November 6th. Yeah, it was. So we had my birthday, but because this is the first movie review episode we have done since Halloween, we have to give everyone an update on our Halloweens and the Halloween party and everything. So,
okay.
Tim,
Yeah, sure. I'll go first.
Okay.
So I drank a lot. Don't remember anything. Yay!
You're like, in the party I went to sucked.
Yeah, it sucked.
Well, so Halloween on October 26th, Jacob and I had our annual party. It's called Halloween Havoc, and this year was the 21st year, Tim. Do you know what that means?
Your party can drink.
No, it means that we're fucking old.
Oh, or that.
Yeah. And we had friends coming from out of town. We had a ton of people. We had neighbors.
They came from foreign countries.
They did. We had people coming from Europe. No. But my friend Angela came from Michigan. That was the furthest.
I don't know if Angela's listening to this, but I'm going to say she is so sweet and so fun. I love her.
She does listen to the podcast.
Oh,
Angela does listen to the podcast,
okay.
and she's one of my best friends. I've known her for 24 years. And she is like, when I think Halloween, she's like one of my main Halloween friends. She's been to so many of the parties, and she came this year and dressed as Baby Spice.
Oh, from If You Want to Be My Lover, you gotta get with my friends.
Gotta get with my... Oh, I can't get that high. Gotta get with my friends.
Why would you attempt that? You're a boy.
Wait, give me one other Spice Girl song. Go.
Okay. So, tell you what... I don't know. Is that the same one?
You forgot When to Become One. Remember their slow song?
Yeah, I was so unhip in 1997.
I was not a big Spice Girls.
I don't know what year I was hip, but not that year.
Yeah, what year were you at? Well, tell everybody who you everybody who you dressed up as.
I went as Leatherface. My costume was, ugly, scary. It wasn't particularly cute. Whereas, Jacob and Matt had like cute costumes.
Were ours cute? I
thought you guys were darling.
So I dressed up as Elton John from like the 70s, the big feathery white costume that he has, the iconic white costume. And then Jacob and our friend Paris stole the night because they dressed up as Jareth and, damn it, I don't remember the girl's name.
Jennifer Connelly from
Labyrinth. I don't remember her character's name.
But looking back at that movie, she was like supposed to be a teenager, like 16, and he's like an adult man.
But yeah, exactly. But I don't think they're not lovers. They're just he's like trying to.
The way they were dancing,
it is a little bit of a little seductive. But so Jacob was David Bowie from that movie, and he and Paris nailed their costumes. I mean, they won the night. I feel like
I agree, and they had a little dance number in the Satan sign.
Yes, that they played. Well, we had like a big pentagram. We first off.
We're Satan worshipers.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're Satan worshipers. No, Jacob and I decorate the hell out of our place. Like, it takes us like a month. We put up lights, fog machines. We have full-size animatronics. Like, I made 200 Jell-O shots in syringes. I made my Hollywood.
You made your Hollywood debut.
My Halloween brew, which is just a punch with vodka and a bunch of other shit. It just, we put a ton of time into it, but it was fun. This was one of my favorites.
You did a fantastic job. I had a great time walking around with a drink in one hand and a chainsaw in the other.
It was great. And Tim at the end, Tim's always stays till the end, which is great. And at the very...
Well, what would happen if I left early?
I'd give you shit.
I don't want any shit.
I don't want shit. There's one part where, I don't drink that often, but during the Halloween party, I drink a ton. And by the end of the night, we put a song on the playlist for Tim because he loves Enjoy the Silence by Depeche Mode.
This is my favorite song of all time.
So Tim was dancing as Leatherface to Enjoy the Silence, and I was recording him, and you can hear me in the background saying, "Go Leatherface," but I'm drunk, so I'm like, "Go Leatherface, go,
I
go."
will say, it took me an entire night of drinking before I felt comfortable enough to dance.
With that chainsaw.
And I will say, I mean, looking at the footage, I was... pretty good dancer.
I think you had some good moves.
I was like, I think I'm ready for Dancing with the Stars.
Dancing with Leatherface.
Leatherface.
Look, when you're dressed as a different character, you can be anyone you want.
I had some kind of flow with that chainsaw. It's on TikTok.
It's true. If you want to see the video we're talking about where Tim's dancing and I'm saying, "Go Leatherface," go to our TikTok. Happy Horror Time.
Happy Horror Time TikTok. That's where we put all this stuff. Like we wouldn't put because people
put
actually
on Instagram.
Right? No. Because people actually look at Instagram and and look at Facebook. TikTok's kind of like
People scroll.
they like
scroll.
if there's time.
And also, TikTok is like, they don't want serious shit. Like, they don't want to hear about our episode. They just want to see you dancing with a chainsaw.
And there's also Matt dressed as Nicole Kidman.
Yes, 2 years ago, I dressed as Nicole Kidman from the AMC commercial, and I did the entire monologue. It was my first and possibly only time in drag because it was so much work. Like, our friend Paris did my makeup and everything, and it just took so long. But if you want to see me as Nicole Kidman, go to our TikTok.
And I will praise you more. You did the monologue without messing up, without like even like
I practiced. I'm not gonna lie.
You did such a good job.
I knew I was like, okay, if I'm gonna be this character for Halloween, and also like because it's our party, like I can't. That's why Jacob and I always feel so much pressure to have good costumes because we're like, you can go to a party in a shitty costume, you cannot have a Halloween party and be in a shitty costume. So we're always like, what are we going to be? What are we going to be? And it's just tough. But yeah, so I prepared
like,
for Nicole Kidman.
You know, I'm not going to say this meanly, but you guys put yourself in a position where you have to raise the bar every year. So
It's tough.
You know what? I can't feel sorry for you.
I know. Well, and also even with the party, like every year we get more decorations or more animatronics, and it's like, we do want to keep raising the bar, but like, is there a point where the bar's too high?
Well, what is that? What do people say? The ceiling is the glass ceiling or something?
That like Hillary Clinton used that in terms of women
you think I'm quoting
never.
that? You think I'm quoting Hillary Clinton?
Well, reaching like the office of presidency. Oh wait, no, that's true. You can use the glass ceiling for other things.
Like,
no, only Hillary Clinton.
I love that you actually thought I know something.
We just had an election, so all that shit is in my head, and I remember she always talked about that glass ceiling.
You know what I was thinking of?
What?
I was thinking of Willy Wonka. Remember when like
well, they have a glass elevator and it goes out the glass ceiling.
Right.
What are we talking about right now?
Willy Wonka.
So that was Halloween, and then my birthday was last week, and you know what's tough about my birthday?
45.
Yeah, I turned 45. Ugh.
Did you look in the mirror and go, God, I'm old?
No, I said, God, I'm beautiful. No, I said...
Okay, denial.
No, I said, wow, now I'm truly in my mid-40s. Like, truly.
I'm about to push my way
You're about to be
out.
in your late 40s.
Oh, no, I'm already there.
No, I'd say late 40s is 48, 49.
April 19th, gifts are not optional.
Gifts are not optional, but clothing is.
Yeah.
No, so every year, because we put so much time into the Halloween party, I never want to do a ton for my birthday because it's like a week later. So this year, it's tough.
It is, I mean, not to knock your birthday. It's a wonderful thing. I'm going to knock it. But it's like so anticlimactic. Like you and Jacob put together this big, beautiful Halloween party. And then you have to like
have a birthday.
Gear, and then you have like, oh, let's have a birthday.
You know what the worst part is? Like the week leading up to the Halloween party when I'm like the most stressed because like we're getting all the supplies and the alcohol and the snacks and I'm just like so much to do. I have like my family's like, what do you want for your birthday? And friends are like, what do you want to do for your birthday? I'm like, let's get through the Halloween party. Like, you know, so I'm so focused.
I mean, like, and trust me, I'm not one to celebrate my birthday on a different day than April 19th. Would you ever have your birthday on Halloween?
Oh no, because you know what? You know what's funny? People have asked me that. Like, it's so close. Why don't you just have it on? To me, I don't want to
have people walk in with gifts.
No, I don't want to dilute Halloween with my birthday. Isn't that funny? It's like I want Halloween to be about Halloween. I don't want it to be about my birthday. Like Halloween is so important to me. My birthday can fucking like, you know, whatever. It's a birthday.
Oh, really?
You're like, oh, really? I want to make my birthday on New Year's, Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Yeah, I want everything. I want it all.
We just went for my birthday. I just went out to dinner with a group of friends to a barbecue place because my favorite type of food is barbecue, and it was fun. It was on Wednesday, or it was November 6th, so it was the day after the election.
What was the name of the restaurant?
It was called what the fuck was it? Oh, Boneyard Bistro.
I called it Boner Bistro.
Tim called it Boner Bistro. So it was weird because it was like a weeknight and it was the day after the election, so there was a lot of emotions going on with everyone. It was a weird day to have a birthday, but you know what? I was grateful that all the people I love and care about were there, except my family who's on the East Coast.
They're far.
What'd you get there? Tim, oh wait, and I gave Tim shit because we go to a barbecue place where they have all sorts of great meats like brisket, pulled pork, like ribs, everything. Tim, tell everyone what you ordered.
I got a hamburger and fries. But my big takeaway from the Boner Bistro was there was a really hot bartender. And I, of course, wasn't drinking because I was driving, but I made eyes with him.
Wait, you never even mentioned this.
Well, you were busy talking to everyone. I was busy staring at a bartender.
I didn't. First off, I didn't even remember seeing a bartender.
Well,
I ordered a drink.
You know what? You don't have a single mind.
I know. I have a double mind.
You've got a double mind.
No, I know what you're saying. When you're single, you are always on the hunt for dick.
No. Just like I'm looking for a significant other.
I mean, look, I notice hot guys. I'm not thinking of, what I'm going to do with them, but I notice
start a book club with them?
I'm going to start a book club. Yeah. I did not notice any bartender. So there was a hot bartender at Boner Bistro.
Yeah, I might have to go back.
You may. I mean, here's the thing.
Chances are he's straightened up. He's like, oh, my girlfriend's going to be here in 10 minutes. Yeah. I'm like, okay, bye.
Oh, he's like, to you, are you the guy who ordered a hamburger and fries? Out.
He goes, you dipshit.
You dipshit. No, it was a good birthday. I mean, it wasn't anything crazy.
This is the most I've ever cussed.
I know, Tim. I'm so impressed.
You're rubbing off on me.
I know. Well, you know what? Maybe we'll find out. I think we should Google Boneyard Bistro bartender. BBB.
BBB. Bold in the beautiful. Bold.
Oh, my God. So anyway, that's been the last couple of weeks. It's been Halloween. It's my birthday. And now we're getting ready for Thanksgiving.
Turkey, Eli Roth.
I know. Yeah, well, Thanksgiving 2 comes out next year. But anyway, I guess
think that's a missed opportunity. He should have had it out 9 months after.
He said, and I give him credit for this, is that he wanted to take the time to really do it well. And I like that because sometimes, as you know, when they rush movies, they're not as good.
And talk about the bar being raised. I mean, now with Terrifier 3 being so successful, I mean, he's like, oh, shit. Now we got to have a turkey rip someone's head off.
Well, if you want to do that type of movie, but you're right. He did do, he had the woman in the oven in the first one. Now he's going to really have to step it up. So,
yeah, I mean, you just can't put a woman in the oven and be like, hey, we're entertained.
We're done.
Yeah.
That's it. Anyway, so the movie we were talking about today is and it's tough for horror movies to come out in November because October is so big for horror. They're trying to, capitalize on Halloween. A ton comes out. Well, and November is almost like you're in that coma of you're done with Halloween, but you still want to see horror. So this movie came out the weekend after Halloween.
Didn't it come out November 1st? What was the
No, it came out November 8th.
Okay, I'm not good with dates.
Yeah, and it's called Heretic. And now this preview's been playing for a while also with Hugh Grant. And, if you know Hugh Grant, well, everyone knows Hugh Grant. He's been, what are some of his big movies?
He did that Music and Lyrics with Drew Barrymore. He did 4 Weddings and a Funeral with Andy McDowell.
Oh my God.
He did Notting Hill with Julia Roberts. There's nothing even in front of me.
I was had to look up. He's one of those actors.
9 months with Julianne Moore.
Oh my God. He's one of those actors who's been around forever, but I just can't name anything because I will tell you this. His movies aren't my go-to movies. I'm not a rom-com person,
I mean, I didn't used to be a rom-com person, but I have a confession to tell you.
What?
Last night before bed, I watched The Ugly Truth with Katherine Heigl and Patrick Butler. Is that
I remember that movie with the really hot guy who's in the towel and you see his butt.
Eric Winter.
Oh, I just remember him because he was
show his butt?
Yeah, because his towel gets pulled off of him.
Oh my gosh. I must have been out looking at my TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, remember she's trying to get advice on how to date him and then she ends up going for
It's so vulgar. I loved it. And then afterwards, whatever I was watching streaming service, Uncle Buck started and I just watched Uncle Buck. And
these are such random
I know.
movies.
I was like, The Ugly Truth. Hey, you'll probably like Uncle Buck.
You're like, hey, loser. You'll like Uncle Buck.
And so it just started playing. And at the very, very end, when the bitchy daughter waves to Uncle Buck, I had tears.
Okay, don't ever tell anybody.
Well, I'm telling you and whoever else is listening.
And everyone, wow. Okay, it's been a while since I've seen Uncle Buck, but I don't remember
Buck,
crying.
You will cry. It's very sad. The whole family is such an asshole to Buck. They're like, Buck is so incapable. Buck can't do anything. And I'm already crying.
Oh my God. I think you may be pregnant.
Maybe
Tim.
I might be. Who's the father?
Your hormones are
I don't know.
Okay, Heretic. So anyway.
Buck.
So Heretic, it's either called a psychological thriller or religious thriller, but basically the main story is it involves, the first 2 characters we meet are these 2 missionary girls. Now, they are Mormon girls on their mission. And if you don't know, Mormons, and I had a good friend who was Mormon growing up, so I learned about this, after high school when you're 18, 19, if you want to be part of the church, you go on a 2-year mission where you get sent to a random area and you have to, I don't know if it's daily, but you're going out trying to basically spread the Book of Mormon, convert people, stuff like that. Wow. I mean,
I know nothing about it other than a musical I've never seen called The Book of Mormon, and people love it.
Yeah, I mean, people. My friend went on the mission. It's a very intense religion. It's also a very new religion. Like it's one of those
my religion.
branches of Christianity that started like not that long ago. And anyway,
it's
new compared to religion, which started like thousands of years ago.
How many years is Mormon?
Maybe a couple hundred years ago.
100?
Yeah,
Okay,
because
that's a long
Joseph
time.
Smith and now look, I don't know everything about Mormonism. I'm Jewish, but I
tune
had a
in.
friend.
We got lots of
let's talk about religion. Well,
but this whole movie is about religion.
Yeah, exactly. And so we meet. Their names are Sister Barnes, played by Sophie Thatcher, and you'll recognize her if you watch Yellow Jackets. She was also in Boogeyman, and Tim just told me she had a role in Maxine. She was the girl who puts like the head cast on Maxine.
Yes, but I mean, like we're talking like
few minutes.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so minor, but I do remember.
You remember her in Boogeyman? I mean, the movie sucked.
I did not like Boogeyman at all.
No, it wasn't good.
Sophie Thatcher is a movie star. Like she has a movie star face.
Movie star face. She's a great actress.
Great actress,
I think
too.
she's like 21, 22. And the
Both
other.
of these girls were born in the 2000s.
Oh my God. The other one is Sister Paxton, and she's played by Chloe East. Now, I hadn't seen her before. I looked her up. Apparently, she had been like a child actress on True Blood. She's been in some other stuff that I wasn't familiar with, but
it's a bunch of Disney stuff you and I have never watched.
Yeah, so very different career than Sophie Thatcher. But so there's Sister Barnes, Sister Paxton, and so
I didn't. Oh, hear my
Whoa,
voice.
whoa.
I'm so excited about.
Tell us
telling
about
you.
those Mormon
No,
missionaries.
I didn't know that like Mormons called each other sister. I always thought that was like a sister act thing, like Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, well, you mean for nuns? Yes, they do too. But you know what the boys call each other? Elder. So it's like my friend was like Elder this. So you'd be like Elder Murdoch. Yeah.
Well, I am old.
You're
so
already an
it's
elder.
fitting.
I know it's funny because the word elder like means like older. So it's weird.
The
I don't
movie
know.
was educational for me. Like I didn't know that like for the two girls to go into someone's house, they had to have a woman present.
I don't know. I mean, I think that's just a safety rule. I don't know if
I
that's
think
a
that's
religious
good rule.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, but do the guys have to do that?
I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't know. But when we meet the two girls, Sister Barnes, Sister Paxton, they're like sitting around talking about like that they have to go, and talk to some people about religion, but they're actually talking about stuff that you wouldn't suppose like Mormons would talk about. Like the first girl's talking about how she like saw porno, and the other girl's like, "Do you watch a lot of porn?" And she's like, "No, not at all."
The porn monologue I thought was really interesting because she said like she's having sex with a guy and like she was the person that was having like getting the sex from the guy was like the life was going out of her and she's like, this is my life.
Yeah,
and
like
they're,
she hated
filming
it. Like she did not enjoy
so
it.
that huge monologue, I was like, that was really an interesting observation by that sister.
And one thing that made me feel really bad for these characters from the beginning. So there's something in the Mormon religion. Now, I don't know a ton about this, but I've heard little bits about it. It's something that people call magic underwear. And I can tell you about this, Tim, but it's like, and I don't even know if I'm talking about. No, it's like a white sheet like layer of clothing that you're supposed to wear I think it's either under your underwear or over your underwear. And it's basically like to keep you pure and chaste, like because you're not supposed to have premarital sex and stuff, and it's supposed to be like another layer of clothing like blocking you from that. And a lot of times people make fun of it, which is sad for
and
these people.
And they call it magic underwear?
Well, the Mormons don't, but like I think other people
like those
making
three
fun
bitches?
of it. Yes. So in the movie, poor Sister Paxton sees like these like neighborhood girls, and she just kind of you can tell she like kind of wants to be like them.
She does, and she's like, it was so sweet. She's like, hey, can we get a picture with you? And she's like, sure.
And she like is posing for the picture, like she thinks she's cool, and they want to take a picture of them because they think they're cool. But really, it's to humiliate her because one of the girls pulls Sister Paxton's dress or skirt down, showing the magic underwear.
I felt so bad because like after that scene, because there wasn't much before they get to Hugh Grant's house, so they're just kind of showing that the girls are bonding and they kind of are opening up to each other.
Yeah, they're starting to get to know each other. And also you can see that they're talking about stuff that isn't just religion. Like, of course, everyone has thoughts of different stuff, and the girls are getting to know each other. And you can tell Sister Barnes, the Sophie Thatcher character, is a little bit more like I think she's been involved in it longer.
I feel like she's a little bit more worldly than the other.
Yes.
Definitely more worldly than
Yes.
it. Like she comes across as the smart one. But the cool thing about their relationship is she's not condescending. understanding to the
Not
other
at
one.
all.
She's very sweet because the other girl is
a little more naive. Like
Yeah.
Sister Paxton comes off as a lot like more
like,
naive
who
and
would
like
you play in this scenario?
Sister Barnes. You would get pantsed and people would say, look,
well,
magic underwear.
I know.
Yes, but I think Sister Barnes was really sweet and nice and whatever.
Right.
So
I did feel, and like she was such a good actress that like I felt so bad for her getting bullied by those girls.
I felt it too. I felt really bad for them. And the funny thing is that it's not like I'm particularly a fan of religion or a bunch of religions, but I can tell you one thing I'm definitely not a fan of is treating people badly just for thinking differently or feeling differently. And you cannot agree with something and not be an asshole.
Right. I did not grow up with a heavy dose of religion at all. Like I do remember this. My whole family in 1992. I cannot believe I'm talking about this.
Random. Went to Red Lobster.
We went to Red Lobster. Now you had a lobster.
I got food poisoning.
I had food poisoning. God, Christmas. No, but I remember my whole family went to church on Christmas Eve in 1992. None before or maybe after, but I stayed home and wrapped presents and watched Single White Female.
Wait. Did your family like guilt you for that?
No.
Oh.
They were like, "Do you want to go?" And I was like, "No, I want to wrap presents."
But that's good that they let you do that. I thought I was waiting for like that. And then they told me I had to go to church for
No, not at all. My family was not religion focused.
Yeah. I mean, so I grew up Jewish, and I think a reason also I have empathy for people of religions that not a lot of people understand is because that's how I felt. I grew up in Rancho Cucamonga, California, where me and my best friend Josh were like the only Jews in school, and people thought we were weird. I know it's like maybe by today's standards, I think people still think Jewish people are weird. Like even though like people totally didn't understand that we didn't do anything crazy or weird or something like that, but they just weren't familiar with it. And so I got treated weird for being Jewish. Now, growing up as an adult, I'm not really a practicing Jew, but I still consider it my culture, my background, and my identity. Like I feel a lot of, a connection with Judaism. I just don't practice the religion, but I can understand when like these poor Mormon girls, people are making fun of them because I'm like, I get that.
Anything before your senior year of high school, anything that is different will absolutely get made fun of.
Of course.
Like I remember,
look.
oh my gosh.
Anything.
Like anyone that didn't celebrate Christmas, I remember there was like a foreign exchange student that like, it was at my high school and she said, "Oh, we don't celebrate Christmas," or she said something like, and I was like, "You don't celebrate Christmas."
Yeah. I mean, I remember I knew Jehovah's Witness, people who are Jehovah's Witness, and they don't celebrate any holiday. Like you don't celebrate your birthday. And there were some people that were Jehovah's Witness at my school.
You obviously learned nothing from Melrose Place episode where they deal with that.
They do have a Jehovah's Witness.
No, like they always say, like, don't say those.
But so it's just funny because like you end up as a kid, you learn only the things about people that are different or you would consider weird, but you don't ever take the time to learn, well, what do they actually believe, or why don't they celebrate a holiday? Like I never got to learn, well, why don't they celebrate the holiday? It was just, those people don't celebrate their birthdays. But I was just too dumb, you know?
Same. Like my grandparents were huge into going to church on Sundays. And, I always thought, okay, well, that's what they want to do. But like my mom and dad don't really want to. So I think for me, I always looked at it as like a choice. Like,
yeah, and it should be.
Like a church is I always thought it was growing up. It was a place where people went for comfort, for like a sense of community.
Of course. I think that, religion, the worst part about religion is when it's forced upon anyone. You should, if you want to have that connection with people, with God, with whatever you deem to be spiritual, you should go for it, but it should be an individual choice. But anyway, we're getting all deep into this.
Honestly, this is what this entire movie is about.
This entire movie is talking about that. But so let's get to, after the poor girl gets made fun of, they go to their stop. They go to Mr. Reed's house, which is Hugh Grant. And right when they arrive at his house, he's someone who has signed up because he wants more information on like learning about the Church of Latter-day Saints.
I'm glad you just told me that he signed up.
Well, they had like a list. Remember, they had a list of people and they were visiting, like people who wanted to learn more about the Mormon religion. So they were going to his house, but right when they get there, like this big storm, like a blizzard starts, and it starts going, and like so they're in the doorway, and he invites them in, and that's when they give the line.
But it took him forever to get him to invite them in. They were getting like rained on.
Yeah, and he says, do you guys want to come out of the cold? And they say like, well, we can't, go inside a house unless a woman is present. He's like, well, my wife's in the other room. She's making a blueberry pie. And they're like, oh, and they go in and they sit down. Now, of course, we've all seen the trailer and we're like, okay. But here's what happens. So when they sit down, it slowly starts getting creepier and creepier. Like first, he's very friendly. Didn't you find him friendly at first?
I thought, no joke, and I know this is a wrap-up thing I'm about to say, but I thought...
Look, and he killed them.
And he killed them. And I was like, damn, what a movie. No, I thought all three actresses were so on top of it, and like... There was not one weak link in the three.
Oh no! I mean, when you only have three people,
good.
When you only have three people to carry a movie, you can't
and
have a weak link.
And to keep me interested, that's a feat.
Yeah. Well, so Hugh Grant is talking to him, and first he's kind of like saying that he's studied religions and things, and you think that he's legitimately interested in learning from them. But then he starts asking some weird questions. Like the first one is like, he's like, I know this is inappropriate, but what are your thoughts on polygamy? And
Wait, before we go on, polygamy is what now?
A man has multiple wives.
That's what I thought.
I wonder if it would be called something different if a woman has multiple husbands.
There's a whole show on it. It's a reality show that's been on like
my Sister Wives.
Yeah,
right?
Sister Wives. It's been on for I think it's the longest running reality show.
So as far as I know, polygamy is something that I know people have associated with the Mormon religion, but I don't think the current modern Mormon religion. No, sorry. I know for a fact the modern current Mormon religion does not endorse polygamy. But I think when it first started with Joseph Smith, and again, I'm sorry, listeners, if you know religion, you probably know this better than me.
Don't come to us for religion.
Yes, don't come to me. I'm not a Mormon, but as far as I know, when Joseph Smith started the religion, he was a polygamist. He had multiple wives.
What's your religion again?
Really? Come on.
Wait, okay, so
Jewish. I'm Judaism.
Does Jewishness... Judaism. Do they embrace polygamy?
Polygamy? No, they have never embraced polygamy. You want multiple wives?
Yes, I do.
I think you want multiple husbands, bitch.
That too.
Anyway, so he asked them this, and like they look a little uncomfortable, and they're like, oh, that was just kind of a, an outdated practice, which, doesn't, and he's like, oh, or did Joseph Smith create a religion just to explain the reasons for having multiple wives? And then it's like, you're like, wait a second, what's he doing here? He's kind of like, he's challenging them.
It's a weird conversation to have with two young girls.
Exactly. And also two young girls who that they're coming to just speak from their doctrine or whatever,
right.
But I don't think they want to be challenged. And also, like, it's I think that you can challenge them, but he starts with that, and you think it's kind of okay, but he's getting weirder and weirder. And as time is going on, they're like, we really need to see your wife. Can you have your wife come in? And he says, okay, I'll go get her. And he leaves. And remember, he said that his wife was making a blueberry pie, and they said, oh, it smells delicious. Well, Sister Barnes notices that there's a candle in the room, and it's blueberry pie scented, aka there ain't no blueberry pie.
I know, but they do get a blueberry scented candle.
And I mean that right away, weren't you like, I gotta get a blueberry pie candle?
I will say it was like an advertisement.
I was like, seriously,
like, listen, if my only walk away, takeaway, my only walk away, I gotta walk away
is to get a blueberry scented.
Yeah, I was like, well, I kind of want one.
No, to be honest, I was actually thinking that because Jacob and I get candles all the time, and usually it's not like fruity type stuff.
Never get fruit.
We never get fruit. See, I'm a big fruit lover. He's not so much, but I want blueberry pie, Tim. Oh. My wife's in the other room. Anyway.
Just to clear this up, I don't like blueberry pie.
Oh, well, fuck you.
Okay.
Look, like everyone is saying that. No. So the girls start to get a little nervous. They're like, is there a wife here? What did this guy come in? So they decide, we're going to leave. He's in the other room. We're going to leave. They go, the front door is fucking locked. It won't open.
That is a huge red flag.
Huge red flag. And their phone won't work. Now, he did say,
and I actually did make a mental note.
I did too.
Said like, hey, if my walls have metallic in it.
It has metal. He's like, do you have any problem with metal walls?
And they're like, no.
Because they were like, not thinking it's going to cut out cell phone signals.
Right. Again, he's telling them all from the beginning. I get it. It comes in to play later.
But they're not expecting
annoying.
that. Yeah. So they basically have to, they're still thinking maybe there's a chance that we've gotten this wrong. So they kind of go down the hall, this creepy ass hall, and they find him in like his study, and they're like, They faked that they got a call from their like head master. Like, we got to get back to the church. And he's like,
that's impossible.
He's like, you didn't get no call. I've got metal walls. And then he's like, oh, but you guys are free to leave, but not through the front door. You're going to have to leave through one of these 2 doors. And he writes on one of them, belief and disbelief. And they're like, can we just go through the front door? He's like, oh, no, it's on a timer. You have to leave through this.
You'd have to wait till morning. And they're like, you know what I would have done? And I think I said it to you. I said, I would just wait.
They played this so well. The 2 girls like that, like, you know what, not full-fledged panic yet, but like starting to get more and more panic. Like, it's almost like it's like the director told them, okay, now you're at a 3, now you're at a 5, because they slowly were getting more and more nervous.
Well, this is the one problem with the movie. And I'm not saying, again, it's an amazing film. It's not my favorite. I probably will never see it again. But
it's an amazing film. I will never see it again.
Very well done. But here's what. Okay, so these girls, as an audience member, like, they're like, okay, we're at a 3, now we're at a 4, we're at a 5 of nervousness. But as an audience member, I was at a 3. Like, you got to keep me interested.
This is the problem. This is where we're going to get to the part of the movie, which I think was the downfall of this movie, which could have been, I think, stronger. Hugh Grant then goes in for about the next 20 minutes into this humongous monologue about how all religions are like adaptations of other religions, and he uses all these like metaphors. Like, first he pulls out like Monopoly, but what it came from, and all the different editions of Monopoly and what it is now,
all the different kinds of Monopoly.
Yeah, and then he plays a song, which is an old song, which apparently inspired the song Radiohead's Creep, which I love, by the way.
I do love that
which
song.
Inspired a song by Lana Del Rey, which inspired, and he's talk, and it was a little too dialogue heavy.
That's the thing. Like, okay, I would still be in panic mode. I don't know if I would be listening to one word Hugh Grant was saying, because I'd be like, hey, I'm locked in here, and this guy's babbling about Monopoly.
Yeah, it was very long. It was like a lecture, and they're scared. And I know for a fact, when I'm scared, the only thing I'm thinking about is the fear.
Oh, same. Like, and you know me, I'm fight or flight.
Oh,
I'm always
you'd be
flight.
running.
I'd be like, let me out. And then you have to knock me over the head.
So you can tell that Sister Paxton is a little bit more. Sister Paxton's like, oh, great point. We'll go through the disbelief door, aka like, you made your point. I guess religion isn't true. Like, we've all been misled. Let's go. Sister Barnes, on the other hand, is challenging him and is like, no, and she starts bringing up some points that kind of like counter what he's saying, and she's like, no, we're not going to do what you say or think what you say just because of this. Let's go through the belief door. So she ends up pulling, because she's the stronger one, Sister Paxton down the belief door.
I would never challenge a crazy Hugh Grant.
I agree. That's the thing. Like, the one thing is, and I love Sister Barnes because she's tough, but like, at that point, say whatever you need to say to get the fuck out.
That's what the other one was doing.
Well, yes, but I think part of me, this is just my interpretation, I think Sister Barnes thought whatever game he's playing, we're fucked either way. So like, I'm going to go out with my morals. Like, I almost feel like she thought, both of these doors are leading to shit, so I'm going to go out without compromising myself.
Right, because he's trying to, it's almost like Saw, and but we didn't get Saw.
No matter what you do, you're fucked. It's true, because it's almost like if you know you're going to die, and they didn't know at this point, are you going to go out whimpering, or are you going to go out saying, fuck you? I want to go out saying, fuck you.
And there is the Saw element, but nothing against Hugh Grant. He ain't no Jigsaw.
Yes, but he did deliver the line. He was great as a creepy guy. I mean, he's no Jigsaw, but I thought in this role, I mean, again, I don't know a lot of Hugh Grant stuff. I thought he was really great as this creepy man. But anyway, moving forward.
Before we go forward, rumor has it that Hugh Grant is not the sweetest person on set.
Really?
Yeah, like a lot of actors, like, you know how like later it becomes revealed, like, Blake Lively's not the sweetest or whatever. Like, it comes
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway. She's like, thank you. That's the end of our,
yeah. Can we move on?
Hugh Grant also falls in that category. Like, there have been actors that have come forward that saying like, hey, he ain't sweet.
I totally believe that, because I think for someone to get someone else to come forward and say they're not sweet, because so much of Hollywood is like saying the right thing and being PC. If you're going to actually come forward and say this person's an asshole, they've got to be quite an asshole.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you look at a lot of interviews, people always say like, oh my gosh, what was it like to work with Tom Cruise? They're like, he was great.
Yeah.
Like, it is so rare.
You know who also is awful, but there's like proof of it is Christian Bale, like yelling at people on sets.
It was documented.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, I remember hearing a tape of him, like, yelling at the crew.
With everyone having phones, don't be stupid.
Don't be stupid, yeah. Anyway, so they go down the belief door, and it's this creepy staircase down to a basement where Hugh Grant says, I'm going to show you a miracle. I have a prophet here. And it's this creepy looking woman who looks like she's near death. And he's like, you're going to see her die and then come back to life. And she's going to tell you that the afterlife is nothing. And all I thought to myself, I was a little confused at this because I was like, okay, you're going to bring her back but you're talking about it like it's a miracle, like it's religion, but you're doing a religious miracle to show them that religion doesn't exist. Like, I wasn't quite following that.
I mean, I got it, but I couldn't possibly explain it.
Well, so this woman, she eats something and she dies.
It's the blueberry pie.
Oh yeah, just the pie. I didn't know it was oh, you're right, it was blueberry pie. So you know what, we could have got, and falls dead. Well, anyway,
I'm actually surprised those girls weren't hungry.
Yeah, while this is happening, the elder from their church, who they've been gone for hours, comes to look for them. Topher Grace.
Topher Grace from Win a Date with Tad Hamilton.
It almost feels like uncredited role because I don't see him listed, at least on the Wikipedia page, or I haven't seen him listed in any cast and crew
I knew who
thing.
it was, but I was pissed that I couldn't place it right away.
And it's one of those scenes where he comes to the door, and of course Hugh Grant says, did he say that they never showed up or they've already left or something?
And then I was like, okay, well, this comes into play later. I was like, oh, the girls locked their bikes out front.
Outside.
I was like,
he's going to see
where
them.
are those bikes? But that comes into play later.
Yes, he leaves. They're trying to yell for him. He can't hear them, and he doesn't see their bikes. And as viewers, we're like, but their bikes were outside.
Wait a second. When did Hugh Grant have time to go outside? But it comes into play later.
So Hugh Grant comes back down, and he shows them.
Well, during this time, the girls see matches, and they pull a rug to get the matches, and they're trying to start a fire.
Well, because they figured they could signal that elder if they start a fire. It didn't work, but so Hugh Grant comes down, and there's like a new the dead woman who's prophet. There's like a new woman there. But Sister Paxton notices that it looks like her head is faced in a different direction. And she's like, is this the same woman? And they're starting it down. And then she comes to life abruptly and starts like, mumbling something.
Yes,
but then she says it's not real.
Right.
Before Hugh Grant like pushes her away. Well, they are realizing Hugh Grant's playing a fucking trick on them.
Right.
Like, this is not a resuscitation.
This whole thing is a learning lesson in him just being godlike.
Well, he's trying to prove that literally he can control them. He's trying to get them to believe what he wants to believe by framing things. But when he starts to try to explain this to him, Sister Barnes starts to challenge him and is really challenging him. And then the girls had a code word. It was magic underwear, that if they needed to attack him, that'd be the code word. And Sister Paxton had stolen a letter opener,
which looks like a huge knife.
It does. And so Sister Barnes says the code word, and you think Sister Paxton is going to stab Hugh Grant, but instead, what does Hugh Grant do? And this genuinely shocked me.
No, this genuinely shocked me too. Instead, Hugh Grant takes his he
has a box cutter, which if you know, those boxes are really fucking sharp.
And he slices the
Sister Barnes' throat.
And it's done so well. It's she puts out her hands, blood falls on him, and then
she looks
slow
so
motion.
Shocked.
The other girl runs, and her hair's beautifully flowing.
Well, she is shocked, and as viewers, this comes out of nowhere, and you're not expecting that he's going to slice this poor girl's throat, and she just is bleeding out there, and Sister Paxton's going nuts, trying to escape, get away, crying. And then Hugh Grant tries to tell her, oh, don't worry, she's going to come back to life too, just like the prophet. And Sister Paxton's like, what are you talking about? And then he goes through, and this is where I took another dip, because he starts on this other monologue where he's like, she's going to come back to life, and then she doesn't, and he's like, oh, I know why she didn't come back to life. He pulls up her arm, and on her arm, there's this little scar.
Oh, and he digs his hand in there and pulls out, what is that thing?
So it's a contraceptive. It's almost like an IUD. It's for birth control. Girls can get it either, I don't know a ton about this, but sometimes you can have it implanted, I think, in your vagina, but I guess you can also have one in your arm, and it's just releases chemicals that help you be able to have sex and not get pregnant. So,
but they showed that at the beginning of the movie,
he noticed it.
Yeah.
He then tries to say, say, oh, I know why she's not coming back to life. She's not a real person. She's AI, or she's like an artificial person, and this whole world is a simulation.
Any of that.
It's like he started talking, he was trying to say like, oh, this is like a Matrix world and blah, blah. He's just making shit up.
Yeah.
But
and I don't think the other girls really buy it.
Yes, and Sister Paxton finally, remember, she was the like naive one, go with the flow. She finally says
it is like a switch, and she
total
becomes
switch.
So smart.
Yes.
She tells him like,
she says, you know what? I don't believe anything you're saying. First off, that's a contraceptive that you pulled out of her arm. Secondly, you didn't resuscitate that prophet girl. You replaced her with another girl. And he's like, how would I do that? And she's like, you probably have an opening or a secret passageway. And she pulls up the rug, and there's a secret passageway there.
And
she
then
was right.
She opens it, and then he says like, are you
He's like, do you want to know what the only one real religion in life is? You'll have to go down into this like secret passageway. And she's just like, I guess, fuck it, I'll do it.
Yeah, she suddenly becomes so brave.
I will say this was another thing that struck me.
This.
Well, see, the reason I minded it is it was such a quick change. Now, granted, when your life is threatened and you've just seen your partner or friend get murdered, I'm sure your priorities change.
No, I'm not saying I related to her in the sense that prior to her switch, I related to her being naive.
But do you think that if something really traumatic happened to you, that your whole mindset would change?
Right, like suddenly she's in an escape room and she's figuring everything out.
Well, it was weird that after all this trauma, suddenly she like realized that she had figured it all out. And again, we talked about this when you're afraid, you're not thinking that deeply. Either way, she goes down into the secret passageway. He follows her, and inside this like basement area,
like door after door, like religion.
And she sees the bike lock that were on their bike. So he had moved their bikes.
She reaches in her pocket. She pulls out the key.
Yes, she has the key. She unlocks it, and in this room is a bunch of girls or women like her and Barnes that are in cages in like freezing temperature that he's barely keeping alive.
Right, like he's giving them just enough to survive.
And he says, do you want to know what the one true religion is, Sister Paxton? Control. He's like, that is the only religion that matters. AKA, he said, when you can control people is when they have, like when they barely are surviving. AKA, he's barely keeping these women alive, using them as pawns in this game to like control other women.
It's a major brainwashing.
And he's also, I guess he is so fixated on wanting to prove religious people wrong that he is like imprisoning them and like murdering them and using them as pawns.
Like he's using, like when people are vulnerable and they're looking to something to be a part of, he's basically using that against them.
Yes, and he's making it so that these women who he keeps in these cages in this freezing temperature, barely alive, will do anything he says because they're barely clinging on to life, and he's the one who keeps them alive.
And there's also just this added gross part where like he picks up like a thing to clip their nails, and he clips off one of their fingers.
Well, because that was the girl who, so what happened was the girl he had to try to do his little magic trick when he said he was going to bring back a prophet from the dead, and really he replaced her with the other girl. The girl he replaced her with, she was the one who tried to tell Sister Barnes and Paxton it's not real, aka she went off script. So to punish her, he clips her finger off. That's why he did that.
That was a lot for me.
Awful. So anyway, this whole time though, Sister Paxton has been able to like calling him on his shit, and everything he's doing. But then finally she gets the strength to, she takes out her letter opener and stabs Hugh Grant in the throat and runs and like tries to get away.
And they show him pull it out, which I thought there was so much knife on that knife.
Yeah, but it was a letter opener. But
huge.
letter openers are fucking sharp.
I agree. We used to have one. It was really cool.
They're weapons. They are weapons.
But that much letter opener going into your neck, I think he would have died.
So he's bleeding, and as he's like bleeding, he's trying to crawl toward her. And this is another part that I've got to admit that I had like a little bit of an issue with, because as he's like crawling toward her, she decides to pray. And that was fine with me. But
did you already mention that he stabbed her?
Oh yes, sorry, I forgot that. Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah, sorry. After she stabs him in the neck and she tries to get away, he ends up as she turns and he stabs her in the gut.
And it was like they showed I don't know what instrument. Was it a knife?
I think it was the letter opener that he took out of his...
it was the same letter opener. Yeah, he pulls that out.
Either that or the box cutter, one of the two.
She would have died too, right? I don't know.
Well, I would take getting stabbed in the gut over your neck, because your neck, you're going to bleed out right away.
Ooh, gross.
Stomach, you have a little more time. But anyway, as she's crawling away, she starts praying. But the problem I had was then... she goes into this monologue. And again, when you're dying, I don't think you're going to be trying to do monologues and make points, but about how she knows that prayer doesn't actually do anything, but it's for others. The comfort of others. You pray for others. It gives them comfort. And she's trying to explain this to Hugh Grant. And all the time I was thinking, you're dying, girl. Like, how,
fight back.
Or maybe save the lecture for another time. But it wasn't so much of a lecture. It was like the difference between what she does with religion and what he does, where he's trying to harm people. And so anyway, he's crawling toward her with the box cutter. He's about to slice her neck to finish her off. And then out of nowhere,
the other Sister
Barnes,
jumps up with, prior in the film, there was a piece of wood with 4 nails in it.
Yes.
Like, does she put it in his head?
She smacks it into the side of his head, the nails.
And all 4 go into, he's dead.
He's dead. And then she falls over dead. Now you gotta wonder, didn't she already bleed out? Like, had she been waiting for a moment?
Was it a miracle?
Well, so that's the thing. And when we get to the end, I want to discuss all these things and what you think, because there's so many things that I think are up for interpretation. Anyway, Sister Barnes, after resuscitating just to kill Hugh Grant, dies. And so Sister Paxton is kind of bleeding out, but she manages to find a window that she escapes
through.
This
actually was pretty beautiful.
It was, because it's daytime and she's crawling through the snow. And then she's crawling and she finally gets a cell service. And then this is a callback to earlier in the film when they're talking about religion. Sister Paxton tells Sister Barnes that, when she dies, she would love to be reincarnated as a butterfly. And then she would land on the hands of her loved ones to show them that, like, she's there and it's okay.
People talk about, like, especially on The Golden Bachelor, which we just watched.
Golden Bachelor. They talk about
they constantly are talking like
hummingbirds.
Hummingbirds, like, that's my dead wife.
Like signs.
Like,
and
people always go to birds.
Yeah, and it's like they want the comfort of thinking
I
something, whether it is or it isn't, whatever brings them comfort. Yeah. So it's the very end of the movie. She crawls out, she gets cell service. You think, okay, maybe she'll get rescued. And a butterfly lands on her hand and she looks at it and smiles, but then suddenly out of nowhere, it disappears. And then we get the credits. So much is up for interpretation. So I'm wondering, or do you want me to go first? Or you first? What you think?
First.
Okay. So a couple things about them. My first thought is, okay, either the butterfly was maybe Sister Paxton didn't live, and maybe she died and bled out in the house, and maybe she's starting to see the world like as a butterfly, like she's maybe seeing the butterfly because that's gonna be her, or maybe the butterfly is Sister Barnes who died trying to tell her everything's okay. It's one of the two, but I will say it's weird. It seems improbable that Sister Barnes, after getting her throat slit, suddenly woke up with enough strength to slam Hugh Grant and die. Unless that was supposed to be a miracle also, like she came back to life to help Sister Paxton because it was for the good. There's a lot of things that are like, I don't know if it's real or not real. And I feel like the filmmakers did that on purpose, because if they wanted the butterfly to really have an effect, they would have kept the butterfly there.
Butterfly effect?
And they would have had to end the movie, but because the butterfly disappeared, it's like, was it real or was it a delusion?
I loved that ending.
What did you think it meant?
I thought it meant her sister was looking out for her.
Sister Barnes came back as her.
Sister Barnes was the butterfly. Butterfly.
Barnes as butterfly. I mean, again, that was one of my thoughts, but the other thought was, or is she dead and this is her afterlife?
That's
because
so true.
She got stabbed too, and there's a lot of things.
She's rotting away in like Hugh Grant's basement?
Like, what if they all died in that house? I don't know, because
I did not want that ending.
No, I don't want that ending.
No, but I mean, I'm saying like that. I'm glad it's not.
I'm just saying the filmmakers wouldn't have had the butterfly disappear if they didn't want to leave it ambiguous. But you know what's funny? I read so they had an article, was like, Heretic filmmakers explain ending, which of course is just a headline. as any good filmmakers that love to keep things ambiguous, the filmmakers basically said, "Oh, it's up for viewers' interpretation. We know what we think, but we don't want to spoil it."
Here we are talking about it.
I know it's a little bit of a cop out when they don't tell us what they intended, but at the same time, if they did, then we couldn't have these discussions.
Yeah, right. It's just like Friday 13th Part 2. Where's Paul?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they left that one up. But one thing that filmmakers did say, which I think was really good, is they said just like the ending, we kept to be ambiguous because it relates to religion, in that you can never prove someone right or wrong when it comes to religion.
So
it's
true.
just about what you believe.
You know what I think it's about? I think it's about hope, because as a viewer, we're hoping that girl, the sister, finds peace. So, and I think that's why a lot of people are into religion.
Yeah.
It's just like you pray for hope.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But I love that they made it ambiguous, because again, for everyone, there's so many religions. Everyone says that their religion is correct.
But you know which one I'm studying lately?
What?
Scientology.
Oh, great one. Great choice.
Because that's made up in the past 50 years, right?
I don't know about 50 years, but definitely recent.
I mean,
definitely
as long as
recent.
me and Tom Cruise are together.
You're like, whatever religion I have to do to have sex with Tom Cruise.
I mean, I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
I have hope.
You have hope. The butterfly just landed on your hand. It's Tom Cruise. No.
Oh God, Tom.
No, I think that I like that they left up for interpretation, because again, it's like, and just like with religion, everyone has differing viewpoints. Everyone feels differently. Everyone has different thoughts about certain things, and no one can prove anyone wrong. So it's just, it's, again, they say it's about faith and about belief, and you really can't convince anyone to think the way you think, because it's very individual, which is why I don't like when religion forces you to think.
I agree.
things.
And can we also just say that Hugh Grant is a loser?
Wait, you mean the character he played?
Right.
Oh, I was like,
his character is a loser.
Rough.
Building that stuff and the dollhouse. Oh, they're in this room and moving the. I was like, this guy is a dork.
First off, he's got a lot of time on his hands.
That's what I'm saying.
Secondly,
he's oh, this is fun for me.
It's one thing. I get if you want to question people's religion, totally understand that. But to build elaborate traps and imprison these poor girls that they're just kind of following their church and stuff like that, and it's
leave people alone,
or just have a discussion with them. Don't imprison them and kill them.
Right. Leave the box cutter behind.
When he slit the girl's throat, I was so sad. I know, for her, because again, these girls, they're really just trying to be positive and hopeful. They're not causing anyone harm.
Absolutely optional. He did not have to invite them in.
That's another thing I was going to say. I know that a lot of people get irritated when people of certain religions may come and start preaching at them. I get that.
Do they come to the door unexpectedly?
No, that's what I was going to say. My point is, they were only visiting the doors of people who had signed up to learn more about the church. So they did not come to his door and say, you need to do this. And they weren't lecturing him. They came because he signed up for it. So again, it's they weren't forcing anything on him, but he was sure forcing things on him. But again, he's meant to be a villain, but he went to such elaborate lengths to prove his points. And then he was just totally making shit up. When he made up that the girl wasn't a real human girl and it was the Matrix, I was like, where are you going with this?
Yeah, I was I saw that movie with Keanu Reeves and I was bored.
You were bored of the first Matrix?
I didn't get into it.
You know what? Part of me can get that, see that.
People
because
love the Matrix. I was
you have to
me.
it's a really bizarre, mind-opening movie.
Matrix Reloaded.
Yeah.
How about Matrix boring?
Oh my God. I can actually see that. I can see that's not your type of movie.
Not at all.
So when it comes to this movie, what's funny is when I left the theater, I wasn't that big of a fan. And now, after sitting with it for some time, I actually think it was pretty good. I still think it was way too dialogue heavy. I think that
it could have been a play, honestly, other than the stabbings and the falling through the floors and stuff like that. In what else? What else? Did anything else happen?
Poisoning with the blueberry pie, the slitting the throat.
I mean, it all could be a play.
Yes, it's so dialogue heavy, and I think that some of his monologues were effective. Some of them were a little too much, and it took you out of that feeling of dread and tension. At the beginning when they're sitting in there and he's getting a little bit weirder and weirder, like I was feeling anxious. Like I was like, when is he going to snap?
You know what's looking back, I used to sell, I remember
cookies.
I've sold everything. Like candy bars. And I remember in like first or second grade.
Someone invite you inside?
Yes. And like, she's like, oh, I just need to get my checkbook. And like,
you're like, bitch, take it outside.
Oh my gosh. And there was one time, like after the items came in, I went back to the house to give it to her, but she looked completely different. And I was like, oh, no. And she goes, it's me.
It's me, Pam.
Right. It's me, Pam. Friday 13th, part 5. But like, it is amazing to me that my parents, like, this is not anything against my parents, but I think it was just a different time.
Yeah.
I would like go in while they got their check. Like
I did the same thing.
I was getting checks.
I sold magazine subscriptions. Did you have to do that?
I remember selling like things that go around eggs. I don't know what they were.
Like
Easter egg things. I don't know.
I sold magazine subscriptions, and I would go to the neighbors, visit them, and go into their houses, and like, I'm just like, oh my God, why did I do that? And but again, it was a different time.
It really was. I just love that people were buying things from me with checks.
I know. Well, now you think of checks and it's ridiculous. But anyway, all in all, with this movie, I've gotten time to sit with it, and I do appreciate it because I think it had something to say, but it wasn't one of those. Here's the thing. You know, we've talked about horror movies that like, the whole movie's a metaphor for like grief or trauma, and I hate those. But this one, it wasn't that it was like a metaphor for everything. It just had a message, and that's okay. And I got the message.
I got the message too, but I just wish they got to that message quicker. And I wish
and
that
a little more suspense.
And a little more suspense. Yeah. Like again, I'm not saying I need like Jigsaw. I mean, I do love Jigsaw.
You said Hugh Grant was no Jigsaw.
He was no Jigsaw, but I'm not saying I needed all the running around and like of a Saw film and like violence, but just a little something else. Yeah. Like just a little something.
I just think like this movie was good. I think there are many things that could have changed to make it great. So I think that if you are listening to this message, wow, that's quite a voicemail message. No, if you're listening to this episode and haven't seen it, obviously we've spoiled it for you, and you're intrigued, then you should go see it because there's a lot. And again, we weren't able to explain the long monologues.
No, and I was wondering, like, right when the movie ended, I was like, I don't even know where to begin with this.
Well, I knew that I knew how I felt, and again, right when it ended, I had more of a negative feeling because I was just like, God, Hugh Grant talked too much in this movie.
And I'm not gonna lie, I did daze off.
I did too.
Doze off? No, I didn't sleep.
No, but there were enough moments of dread, and the performances were so good.
Those 3 performances held me again to the movie. Like, though they were so strong that no matter what they were saying, I was like, I am interested. I want these 2 girls to escape. I want Hugh Grant to get his comeuppance.
And it wasn't cutting dry like that. And like you said, this isn't a fun horror movie. Like you said, it's not going to be a movie that you're like, well, let's rewatch it again. Oh my God, we're having friends over. Let's watch Heretic.
Right. No. It's actually the way we saw it was probably the best way to see it. Like, I had no temptation to look at my TikTok.
Yes, that's another thing. Do not, if you're gonna see this, if you haven't already seen this and you're going to see it in the movie theater, because if you see it at home where you have your phone and you're distracted, you are gonna miss so much. You have to be concentrating and listening.
You can't have Uncle Buck on.
No, you cannot have Uncle Buck on crying while Uncle Buck plays. But seriously, like, this is one of those movies you really need to pay attention. I found myself, because Hugh Grant, when he's making these points, he's speaking so quickly. I found myself like trying to process everything and thinking like, okay, did I get that? Okay, what's next?
And you know what? I remember turning to you right when it ended. I was like, this is a movie that I would have appreciated with subtitles.
Yes, that's another thing. I will say this. If I watch this again, I have a feeling I may see this again only because since Jacob hasn't seen it, maybe when it comes to stream, we'll watch it. But I want to watch it with subtitles. I will learn so much more.
Me too. I'm losing. That's me in the corner.
Ooh, that wasn't a good one.
I thought it was really good
That's
singing.
me in the corner.
That's me in the corner.
Well, and now because of this movie, Tim and I are going on our Mormon mission.
Yeah, so if we knock on your door, it's not a striptease.
You better be making some blueberry pie.
And you better have your ones ready. That's our religion.
I love, again, it's like how many times they're like, so is your wife going to be joining us? Oh, yeah, she's just in the other room. And they're like, your wife's not here.
Those girls were so sweet. They probably didn't think that they were in that man's, like a crazy man's house.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you ever, unless you're horror movie fans like us, initially
I'm suspicious of everybody.
Go go to the worst case scenario. You and I, anything weird happens, we're like, there's a killer.
They're a serial killer. I know it.
No, we totally do that. But I would say people like that, they can't imagine that someone would go to these elaborate methods to like murder them.
Teach a lesson.
But at least they're not dumb. When they do realize this wife is not there, they do try to escape. So they're not your usual like horror movie victims. They try. They just aren't.
They
so
try
successful.
to outsmart him, and that's what the whole movie's about.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's about people challenging each other on their ideologies and this and control. But it is a little sad. Like he was so awful with controlling these women.
I
it's
don't
just
think
awful.
I've ever been confronted in a way like, hey, you better join a religion. I don't think I've ever been in that position.
Have you ever had someone say, you better work?
Every day.
RuPaul?
And that's me when I look in the mirror.
But like I totally
I go, you better work.
I've definitely seen people of many religions going door to door. But I've never had someone be like if I say no, I've never had someone be like, well, come on. You know, I've never had someone.
I remember being at the pool when I was younger, and this girl was like, hey, would you want to go with me to Sunday school? And I said, sure. I'm just trying to dig back.
Okay. Well, that was just, she probably just wanted like a friend with her.
I mean, but I remember like a bunch of church talk, and I was just kind of like,
church talk.
Yeah.
Like our next podcast, Church Talk with Matt and Tim.
Talk.
We'd be
church
like,
chat. I'm Dana
Church
Kirby.
Chat. Good alliteration, Tim.
Church chat is Saturday Live, Matt.
Oh, wait, when she says,
no, it's
Satan?
Dana Carvey.
Oh,
yeah,
okay, I know
Oh my God, I'm really showing my age. Do you remember that when, I think it was our last episode with Joe Vandelli, I referenced Cheers?
Yes. And boy, even them, and they're only a few years younger than us, but I was like, Tim, why don't you just pull out Dynasty?
Okay, first off, Cheers came out in like 82. Maybe 83. That's like 40
Tim,
years ago.
where everybody knows your name? Or more like where everybody knows you're old.
That's right.
Okay, I think we're good. Anyway, so happy November, everyone. If you're going to check out Heretic, definitely see it in the theater or wait for streaming and turn on subtitles.
Yeah, and don't get it confused with Exorcist 2, The Heretic. Do not get it confused.
Or Jodie Little-Keefe's perfume company called Heretic. Isn't that funny?
I still need to get it.
I know.
Maybe you'll get it for me for Christmas.
I want a blueberry pie scented candle.
Is that all you want?
I do. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Done.
Anyway, okay. Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thanks for listening to another episode of Happy Horror Time.
If you'd like to support the podcast, please sign up to be a patron at www.patreon.com/happyhorrortime. As a patron, you get access to all our bonus content, which now includes 2 new bonus episodes every month, a monthly after-show mini episode, access to our Discord community so you can chat with us directly, and the chance to review a film with us in one of our bonus episodes.
Patrons also get all our regular episodes ad-free and a day early, our monthly newsletter, the chance to vote in polls, and autographed Happy Horror Time stickers.
I'm Matt Emmert.
And I'm Tim Murdoch.
And we hope you have a happy horror time.